welcome back, everyone, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That was a couple of days ago, but anyway, it's one of my favorite pictures. Really cool story about this picture, which I'll spare you of right now. But yeah, so today we're going to be using the Universe is Friendly album, and the first track, which is Deep Space Delta. Okay, so these are really, really good tracks, and Nadja and the Universe is Friendly is a name I came up with when I was testing these things, and I had a very transpersonal experience. And what might you ask is transpersonal? Well, when the sense of self expands beyond just our little run around ego self into a much, much, much larger identity, perhaps even if infinite identity. So I'm not guaranteed that's what happened, but that's happened to me. It was a very powerful experience for me. So let's try to maybe use the D word, discipline. When we do this today is doing a type of centering meditation, which it comes from as deep Christian roots back at least to the 3rd century, the desert fathers and mothers in Egypt. Right after the apostolic age, they went and hung out in the desert and just tried to get close to God. And they developed a whole literature and a tradition. Anyway, a lot of stuff. So we believe this tradition comes, or at least has part of it coming from that stuff. So Christianity used to have roots of contemplative practice, and not just I believe in Jesus and I'm saved. There was a little more to it than that. I'm saying that's wrong, but anyway, there was more to it. And if you read the Gospels, Jesus was he was definitely a practitioner of interior prayer. In fact, even being the Son of God, he got so sick of the crowds and his numbskull, thick brain disciples. After a while, he went off for 3 days to pray. Okay, can you imagine if Jesus had to get away and do that? How much should mere mortals like us have to do it, right? So, and may his presence be with us. So the suggestion is to focus on your heart center. And this is a spiritual center that where we connect with God, where we connect with love, we connect emotions. And in the chakra system, it's the center one, right? There's 3 below and 3 above. And there's something very important in connecting the mental part of the human being, our brain, with our hearts. And I've had people say that itself is enlightenment, the journey, the 18 inches or whatever it is from the heart to the brain and back again, and to connect those 2 ways of knowing. It's when we really get into the transpersonal zone, spiritual zone that we want to be in. So yeah, the practice is focus on your heart, and your mind will go run off and think about things. Just bring it back and focus on your heart. When it runs off, and just have a word like thank you or amen or God or I don't care, whatever. Just a word that will bring you back and focus on your heart, and remind it keeps going. Just bring it back, and the return is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You start developing spiritual, contemplative, meditative muscles so that you can be a better meditator and stay more focused. And the interior prayer, when you start this gig, is to say, okay, God, I'm ready, and I'm ready to experience your presence consciously. Okay, presence is always there, but a lot of times we don't get it. So please help me and be kind, because without you, yeah, and without that conscious experience of the divine, human life can really be a drag. Okay, we really need that. So this is what this prayer prayer does, and it also gives us a place to slow the mind down and stop the constant, whatever. And from from that place, wisdom can emerge, and a type of intelligence that is a deeper intelligence than just the the trained monkey that is, a lot of our brains. A lot of people that use WeAwake are really smart, and the integral world and whatnot. So those are really, really good things, but you don't use uh, a hockey stick to flip pancakes. I mean, there's a different function for that part of the brain. What we want to do is yeah, to cultivate this interior space, this interior connection with divinity, and a place from where we find our purpose and meaning and guidance. And if you don't know what to do, or you feel stuck emotionally, or you feel depressed with the state of the world, or whatever it is, it's a good place just to hold that and let spirit um, nurture us. And in the Gospel of Saint John in the New Testament, which is a very different type of gospel than the other three, but Jesus refers to the Spirit as being the comforter. Isn't that cool? The comforter. We could all use divine comfort. So anyway, with that, I pray that you all encounter that comfort and encounter and consciously the divine presence that is inside of you. So um, let's get rolling. And this thing, let me see here. It is 23 minutes and 3 seconds long. So I'll see you back on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, and I hope that was, you know, that was good. And I mean, it's like when we practice, and even though you don't feel anything really happen, it's happening. It's just like uh, playing the guitar. It's like you practice, and I didn't make any progress, and blah blah blah. Then it just seems like I'm stuck here, and then you go along, and all of a sudden, boom, everything comes together, and you start, wow, start playing at a whole new level. And sometimes it's like that with either skills or issues or spirituality or big existential questions. Like, given the fact we're at a you know a big war is happening, right? That's kind of pitting the the dictatorial forms of government against democracies in the Ukraine, and both sides, not the Ukrainians. They gave up all their nuclear weapons. By the way, I think it was called the Budapest Agreement. I think it was in '95, and Russia and the United States guaranteed their borders if they would give up their nuclear weapons. They had more nuclear weapons on their soil than Russia did, so they said sure. Well, obviously Russia didn't take that too seriously because they, you know, the Crimea. Anyway, so we have that, and we have nuclear weapons here, and Putin has threatened a lot of times just to use them, which would be, and you see Russian television, these guys screaming, we should make the United States and Europe and Britain a cinder block, just destroy everything. It's like, and think, well, they would all be coming back at you, and even if you completely blew up and nuked Europe, if you were Russia, you'd just die later. You'd be so poisoned. I mean, there's just a no-win thing with this, but that's the world that we live in, and that can be really scary and depressing, right? After all these millions of years of evolution, that's the best we can do. So that's a kind of question that you could hold in your heart, and I think spirit honors that. These hard questions, right? Because if the universe is friendly and the universe is conscious, and consciousness preceded matter, and not just this little epiphenomena of the right chemicals and molecules bopping around to give us the illusion that we are conscious, then if the other is true, then it could well be that, as a teacher of mine once said, Andrew Harvey, I think his name, he said, God has an agenda. Okay, so that's one of the things we can really kind of hang our like, rest in that. If you believe, and I use the word God and the God of your understanding. Okay, and someone once said the God you don't believe in doesn't exist anyway, so stop worrying about it. Okay, um, and if you don't know, it's a really good question not to know if God is real. I mean, what proof do you have? Well, people have been talking about it forever, writing books about it, and it's been a main thing in human culture in some version, all cultures. So there's something there probably. It's just a big delusion, or maybe people are on to something. But struggling with that question is a really good thing to struggle with. And again, my favorite quote that I got from somewhere, it said, there's more faith in the doubts of an honest person, more faith in the doubts of an honest person than in all the archangels in the mind of God. I'll let you figure out what archangel in the mind of God means, but faith in the doubt of the honest person, it's okay. And you're not going to get punished and sent to hell forever if you question the nature of reality. I think you actually, if you stick with it, you'll be blessed. And yeah. So, I mean, that's just one of the things. Is the universe friendly? Is there Does God have an agenda? Are we gonna, just blow ourselves all up? And popular fiction would indicate that, yeah, we're never going to get wise. We're never going to grow up to the point that we can get along and love each other. So given that, what can I do? What can little o me do? And if you struggle with that question and in your interior work, eventually you will get wisdom will emerge. Okay. And it may not be what you were thinking, or it may not be the answer that you were expecting, but something will happen. And in the Old Testament, the story of Jacob, who was one of the first, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and then Jacob, after he brawled with this angel, changed his name to Israel, and he became the father of Israel. And anyway, but the point of this story is he had a brawl. He had this fight with this angel. Like, bless me, an angel, screw you. And so they just fought and fought and fought and fought. And finally, he overcame the angel, and he was crippled, from the fight. But I mean, he had a bad leg or something, and he was hurt, but he got this tremendous breakthrough in spiritual evolutionary consciousness, a tremendous blessing. So I think don't be afraid. All that to say is, don't be afraid to struggle with these big questions, and don't be afraid to ask them, and don't be afraid to actually be crushed and wounded by the intensity of the questions and the struggle. Because if I think you should ask for help from maybe another person, but definitely from Spirit, to have the courage and the strength and just to make it through and find the answers. But oftentimes we'll be tested to see if we're really sincere. There's all the stories of the student who seeks out the teacher, who's living in a little cabin out in the woods or on top of a mountain, and he comes, "Oh, master, I'd really like to be your student so you can show me the meaning of everything." And the teacher says, "Later." And they just keep pushing him off, blowing him off. And eventually, maybe, teacher will have him do things like, I don't know, clean up the stables, or I don't know, chop all the wood, and do this for a long, long time until he finds, okay, you've proven yourself. And then the disciple, the student-teacher relationship begins officially. It had already started. So all that to say is, we also have our own inner sage inside of us, and sometimes we'll be tested. But if you can stick with it, you'll begin to have confidence that inside of you there is a connection to a greater wisdom that affirms that the universe is indeed friendly. And what we do in our interior prayer is joining in that struggle daily to get that angel to bless us and show us, what our part is in this thing. And when you do that and you find that, then you can not just be a spectator on the sides, or just more of the problem, but you can start becoming part of the solution. So that's one of the things that we can do in interior meditation and prayer. And it ain't always easy, it ain't supposed to be, but thank God we have these tools that it makes it easier for us. You might you want to go to the temple and talk to the great sage. The WeAwake just puts you in the temple, right? Takes you the right brainwave state where you don't have to struggle with that for ages. You can actually get there, and then the work can begin. It's not the end of all things to be at those meditative states, but it opens you up and gives you access to where the deeper work can proceed. So there we have it, folks. And thanks again for being here. And we love you. And keep praying for all of us and for, all sentient beings, and that we get through this really, really, really difficult time that we're in a way that will be more just and more beautiful and more better. How's that? Okay. God bless.